Have you ever wondered what it's like to fly an airplane? Or maybe a helicopter? Or maybe just a quadcopter with the confidence and ease of a skilled pilot without actually being skilled or confident? Well, now you can.
In today's video, we have what is sure to be the most technologically advanced RC product we may ever feature. This is a DJI Avata Motion 2. And you don't fly this with a typical drone controller that you're used to seeing on most drones. You fly it with this. That even says lock right there. How cool is that? I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting some major Top Gun vibes. And for all you RC car people out there, myself included, this feels a lot like an RC car. Throttle, brake, and it's proportional. You steer like this, you go up and down like that, and it really does feel like flying a plane, probably the closest that most of us will ever get to doing so. And just check out how cool I look wearing these. Do I look as cool as I feel right now? And by the way, you also control the drone with these too. I know, it blows your mind. And I'm acting like I can see you guys right now. Why am I doing that? Let's just go do some pilot stuff.
Check it out, guys. DJI Avata Motion control really is like flying an airplane because you fly it with that. He pulls back, it goes up, push it forward, it goes down, lean side to side, and it turns. Tato said it is literally like magic. Come on, Mav, do some of that pilot shit. And that was our nifty Top Gun inspired music montage. And now we're gonna demonstrate the head tracking, which you can see me and camera here trying to explain, but it's difficult to film videos the same way we filmed other RC videos with drones. So we're just gonna do some voiceover, Tato and I both. And here he's demonstrating the head tracking, which is absolutely phenomenal. And you were saying it took you, what, a few seconds to just for it to become completely natural flying that way?
Yeah, just because I had flown it without head tracking and got, it didn't take very long to get used to that. And then turn head tracking on, I was kind of afraid it would be a little more difficult to control, but it turns out that it's just as intuitive. Now, granted, we're not doing anything really ridiculous here. We're just, flying around an open field. But even so, it was really easy to keep it under control, get the drone to go precisely where I wanted it to go.
And when you guys see how easy he's going to keep the truck in the frame with head tracking, it's really incredible. It was already really good without the head tracking because the drone is so nimble and the field of view is so wide. But now with head tracking, and by the way, this is in normal mode. This isn't even sport mode. Sport mode we'll show here in a few minutes, and you'll see a massive and immediate difference in the speed, and that truck will not be escaping the sport mode drone.
Yeah, it was funny. I completely forgot to put it in sport mode, and we had talked about it on the way down to the park about how I forgot in other videos to put it in sport mode, and again, I completely forgot about sport mode because you're just so immersed in it.
Which meant I got to actually be, this video will be the first time I've ever flown this drone, and I actually accidentally also got to be the first person to fly in sports mode, and it was exhilarating to say the very least. This drone is already super nimble and quick without it, and you almost think it couldn't be any better, and it is. It's much better. Keeping things in frame with this drone is effortless, and it really is like you're sitting inside of an aircraft, especially with head tracking. This is what you see through the goggles, and it's amazing, and that what you see there is exactly what it looks like when you're flying in the goggles. Now you guys saw how easily that DJI Avata was able to follow this truck and keep it in frame no matter which way I turned, almost no matter how fast I went. We're gonna compare that now to this Potensic. Now, we really like this Potensic. We just reviewed it about a month ago, and for its price, it's an amazingly good drone, especially considering what it's capable of. But now, we're gonna see a gap between what drones like this can do and what a drone like that can do. And now we're looking at footage from the Potensic drone, the drone we just reviewed about a month ago that we really liked. And it is very good, but you can immediately see a massive difference in the struggle to follow a moving object, especially a small, quick one like that RC truck, with the Potensic versus with the DJI. And the Potensic, in its defense, is a strictly photography drone. It's not a fast, it's not sporty, it's not nimble. It's meant strictly for photography. Oh, and then you could just do that too.
The crash.
Forgot about the crash. This drone isn't, again, as nimble as the Avata. It can't just turn direction like a housefly. The Avata can. Now we're looking at my very first ever flight with the DJI Avata FPV Motion controller. I've never done this before in my life. Well, we tooled around in the house for a minute, which, by the way, we flew this thing in the house, which is something you're not really even supposed to be able to do with the drone. This one can. Well, pretty much.
Yeah.
We did have one mishap. But I'm flying just for a second here. I'm just taking just a minute, one or maybe one lap to just get a feel for this drone. And to be honest, I probably could have just done some Top Gun stuff right off the bat. It's that easy to fly. And here I'm just getting a feel for the drone. It doesn't take long at all. About that amount of practice is all it took for me to get a full understanding of how to fly this thing. It's that intuitive. Now I'm gonna chase the RC after just one lap of practice, and it's actually gonna be half decent. I'm not quite as smooth as Tato just yet because I don't have quite the practice, but it's only because I had trouble trusting the drone, but this drone is extremely trustworthy. And once I learned that, the skill level increased dramatically and instantaneously.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yeah, and that
You were pretty much right on it from off the rip. Just
another thing that this drone does, it has so many features. We're not going to cover them all in this video because it would take 3 days. That's how feature packed this thing is in terms of settings. But you can see the horizon's tilting with the drone like it would be if you're flying a plane. I actually prefer that. You can set it to where the horizon stays flat no matter what the drone's doing. But personally, I think that creates a bit of numbness to the flight. And I'm not good enough to be able to fly with any kind of numbness. And now we switch back to the goggles because I'm going to engage sport mode, and it is a dramatic difference. This thing topped out at around 33 miles an hour, which it said it would only be able to do 30. We did nearly 15 meters per second, and now you can see that truck is not escaping. The only time it ever gets away is when it spins out, and I just loop around like I'm flying an airplane, like I'm coming in to try to fire a missile at it.
it spun out because I was driving the truck, but I was watching the drone.
Yep.
I wasn't watching where I was going.
And that truck's rear-wheel drive on wet grass.
Yeah, it spun out easily, but...
Which, by the way, guys, that's an HPI, not Savage, it's an HPI SC Flux, and we're going to be reviewing that in the next video. Awesome truck. You can almost play a game with yourself where, can I get radar lock on a ground target in motion? But that circle, you want to be careful doing that. The circle is where the drone's going. If you aim that to the ground too much, you're eventually going to hit the ground. But if you feel like that's going to happen, just tilt your wrist back, and it lifts right up. And it's not delayed. Tilt your wrist back, that thing will rocket to space.
Yeah, it responds immediately.
And completely proportionate to your movement. And here we go. Actually, we're going to demonstrate it here. Just out of curiosity, I wanted to pull up and see how it feels. And it's absolutely thrilling. It's like riding a roller coaster. And your senses, according to your brain, you are in motion and you are flying an aircraft. The only thing you don't feel are the G-forces. Everything else, according to your senses, is you flying, and it's really amazing.
Yeah, the first couple times I flew this outdoors, I had some disorientation, a little bit of vertigo, got dizzy.
Yeah, I noticed that sitting down. I got that a little bit.
But this time around on these flights here, it wasn't as pronounced. Like I think I'm kind of starting to get used to it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I felt it a bit, but I kind of liked it because it gives you that just added sense of realism. You would feel things if you're flying an aircraft, and you do feel things flying FPV like this. It's incredible.
Yeah.
To fly standing up for a beginner, not a good idea. You will timber directly onto the back of your head or your face.
Yeah.
So don't do that. Break those beautiful, expensive goggles. And that would be a major tragedy. Even worse than falling on the back of your head, I think. And now that we've seen my first flight ever, let's have a look at Tato's very first flight with this drone ever. And that is this footage you're seeing here. And how did it feel your first time? What was your first impression?
Easy. piece of cake. With other drones we've flown around the house here, I would never have attempted this.
Oh yeah, we would have never dreamt it unless we were standing right under it and watching
Tried to go around that tree and around the wire there and all of that.
Yeah, because you're still on the back porch.
Yeah, I'm in the backyard. I'm right below the drone, right about there.
That's incredible. We would have never even considered doing that. Oh, there's Georgia.
Yeah, said hi to the dog. And yeah, so here I'm just still kind of feeling it out a little bit. Again, you know, you're tentative because you're still not quite sure exactly what it's going to do, but
your confidence builds quickly, doesn't it?
yeah,
because it really inspires confidence.
Within 5 minutes, you're flying it around, no problem. Oh yeah, this little bit right here going through the rail over there.
Yeah,
again,
we would have never in a million years even thought to try this with any other GPS drone, especially.
Oh yeah,
because a GPS can affect the flight a little bit, and sometimes a GPS drone will sort of take over, not really take over the controls, but it will fight your inputs a bit. This doesn't.
And at first, I was just gonna do a buzz around the pool, and I saw that railing over there, and I'm like, let me see.
Because you have that confidence so quickly with this drone.
Like,
it really does make you confident immediately.
Like, oh, that was easy. Psh, nothing to it, right?
The thing about this drone that makes it so incredible is that when you've flown it for 1 minute, you really do feel like you've been flying for years and that you can just do anything. Not that we recommend you try to just do anything, but you really feel like you can because it's that confidence inspiring. It's truly a remarkable experience, not just flying FPV, but flying this drone with that motion control.
Yeah, really, you know, with all of this, I was never concerned about whether I was going to crash the drone or not. And I know it looks a little tentative. I'm just, you know, how can I position it? How it responds, you know, to the control inputs, those kind of things, right?
And another thing that I noticed too is it's hard not to just admire the beauty because it's not the best DJI camera, but it's very, very good.
Right.
Tremendous video quality, very clear and crisp. And I think you're about to do orbits. This is his first flight ever, and he's going to just orbit this can like it's just easy, like he's always been doing it. Yeah. Orbits are difficult.
I had to think about it for a second because you have to push the joystick left and rotate your wrist to the right to get it to keep that centered.
It looks like you've been doing that for years. Look how smooth that is.
Yeah, it's just nice and easy, not too difficult. Right here, I'm like, all right, let's just let her rip.
Yeah, that was cool. I was impressed to see you do that your first time ever flying.
Just bust it loose. And I mean, I stayed in it here. I didn't lift off the throttle.
And again, this is still in normal mode right here.
Yeah. I just cut it loose. I'm like, if it crashes, it crashes.
And now we're looking at his third flight, but we're also going to demonstrate the head tracking again in a much more enclosed environment with many more obstacles and hazards to deal with.
The front yard.
Yeah. In whichever way you're flying, you can look any direction, and as you can see here, the drone continues on the path it's flying, and it's not disorienting at all.
No.
We're showing the drone's point of view because we didn't record the goggles point of view at this point, which, by the way, you can record both simultaneously and separately. And the drone itself also has, I believe, 28 gigs of its own storage without an SD card. Yeah. And of course, you can add an SD card, which you're going to want to do. It's big files, 4K.
It might be 20 gig. It's 20-something gig.
Yeah, plenty enough to get a couple good videos, even if you don't have an SD card. And as you can see here, the lighting is really low. It's literally sunset. It was completely dark about 10 minutes after this. And so you would think this would be very difficult to see through the goggles, and it really kind of wasn't. Tato's navigating around these branches and trees effortlessly.
And so here, again, third time flying this thing. I'm flying up our driveway here. No worries. There's a little branch that comes by. I saw it. Missed it. No big deal. Now I want to do a rip. We've got head tracking on, so I turn, I look up with my head, nothing in the way, punch it.
That is so cool.
Here we go.
It just feels like you're walking around basically.
Yep.
And I mean, just look at that. And this is still in normal mode, still not sport mode because we didn't want to fly in an enclosed environment going too fast anyways. And you can see even in normal mode, that thing lifts up really quickly.
And I'm still going full blast right here. I'm like, let's dive down into the backyard.
That's a nice dive, by the way. It was better than mine.
Coming around. Now, coming through right here, I could have kept right on going. Got a little nervous, so I just lifted just for a second. just to make sure I wasn't going to ram anything, and brought it on back. No big deal.
There we are. Oh, and I got my Cobra Kai pants on, so I couldn't resist the urge to give you a spin kick. And that resulted in me throwing my phone on the ground really, really hard.
Oh my God, that was unlike any RC experience I've ever had in my life. This thing is really beyond description how cool it is and how natural it feels to fly this thing. For the experience you get out of this, you really truly do feel like you are flying an actual airplane or like an attack chopper or something like that. Very, very advanced technology. It's very, very capable. And if you fly this with a regular DJI dual stick controller, it goes from 30 something miles per hour up to 60 miles per hour. The types of footage and shots you can get with a drone like this are really incredible because the confidence you feel flying this is beyond anything I could describe. For a full-on experienced FPV pilot who's really good at flying and can do all kinds of flips and tricks and stuff, you probably won't get much out of this drone. But to the rest of us mortals walking the earth, this really does make you feel like a drone pilot, a real FPV pilot. I really can't say enough about the experience I had with this drone. It's beyond my vocabulary. It's that cool. I think we're gonna be able to do some pretty cool stuff with this in upcoming videos. But anyways, let me just say as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Remember, it's not about miles per hour. It's about smiles per mile. And I haven't smiled like this in a while. Have fun, and we'll see you in the next one.